Jonnie K with the We the People of RI Free Speech TV show. Rage of Freedom roundtable discussion going on right here. Parenthood, then and now. Like I said in my opener, that I remember my parents saying, I just want my kids to have a better life than I had. And I can also remember my mother swatting my behind with the wooden salad spoon saying, this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. And in both those cases, I don't think is too accurate. There's so many things to touch on in parenthood. We're going to start off with education. There's education, there's vaccinations, there's medication, there's supervision, there's television, there's all kinds of stuff. But seeing that we're starting out with education, little story, I remember when I was in school and I had to do projects, it was a big thing to get together with your best friend and hook up with one of the parents that was going to give you a ride to the library so you could do your research for a project, and then the other parent would give you a ride home from the library when you were going to do research to do a project. And it was a great time. You're goofing off as a kid, and plus you're learning something, and I'll never forget those days. And I think as time's gone on and things have evolved with media and technology and stuff like that, the kids are very challenged. And I think as far as parents saying that I hope our kids have a better life than we did, I think it's quite a bit more challenging for parents nowadays. And I'm going to pass it on to Adam, and we'll take it from there. We have Paul, LaRue, Paula.
Hi. Hi.
And we'll get into a great conversation right here. Go ahead.
There's way too much to say about education. A person could ramble on for hours, but you just mentioned doing the projects, and you actually had to go to the library, and you had to come up with the materials and the clay and the popsicle sticks and whatever. What I've experienced in the past few years of just getting my daughter through projects as she made her way through elementary school into junior high was you go on the internet, and you pick the first link that came up on Google, and you get all the information off that, and you write it down, and then you send your parents out for supplies. And in the process, if the parent cares at all about what you're doing, you have to explain to them about actually what they're doing and what they're building for their project. I'm only saying that because of the internet and where we get information. The library is like almost useless to kids. Why go to the library? We can just do it at home on the internet and turn out a project, and hopefully, I have a parent who makes it look cool like I do.
I would love to. I challenge any parent or any kid to answer what is 200 in the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, there you go. But overall, the electronic age was presented, all the information at your fingertips. But I'm sure several of the kids during my project with my daughter, that the actual answers on the paper all came up the same.
I do want to respond to that. Is that my son's 11. And the school system basically has failed him in 5th grade. And what we actually had to do, we got rid of DirecTV. We monitored the Xbox games. Right now, he's reading Tom Sawyer, and I actually had to bribe him. I said, if you read this by August 1st, I'll take you to the movies. And it's like...
There's nothing wrong with bribing him for Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, well, it depends on the bribe. But like you said, it's so different now. They have so many different pressures. And we're constantly saying, I have people here that say, schools are so bad. Well, what are we doing about it now? I mean, I work full time. We rent DVDs about wars. We get reference material from the library. It's free. But you can't bombard your child to the point where they're not interested anymore. My son's in chorus. He's in junior NRA. I mean, he still goes to public school, but in 5th grade, he learned nothing. I got this book called What Your 6th Grader Needs to Know. They have a whole series in the library from K to 6th grade. And we got the 5th grade book. They taught him 1/3 of what was in that book.
Well, they were too busy with other political agendas.
Yeah, music. They had him watch movies. They talked about global warming and science, and when he's a very curious child, he actually got talked down, and we got a note home about it. I'm sure somebody else has a story about this. But I was so livid. I am a school bus driver, and I see this every day. Like, if you can just make your kid think and question. Like you said about that story, your kid's thinking. That's awesome. But you can't overload them and bombard them. You still have to reward them. But like my son is very curious. And they actually said to me when he was 7 that he had ADD. And when I took him to the doctor says, I'm not even doing the second half of the test because all your kid is curious. So we're operating on a 19th century institution, sit down, shut up, listen to me, when we should be teaching our kids how to think on their feet because it's all new technology. They're not
exactly.
They're not going to survive in the 21st century.
You said they played music, movies for music class?
Yes, I asked him. He's actually in chorus. He learns more in chorus at church, and we're not really religious. And we just kind of go, you know, we are Christians, but we're non-denominational. And our local church had an awesome chorus. They taught him more at church singing in music class. I asked him, what'd you learn today? Oh, we kind of sung that, but we watched this movie from Disney. I said, so my taxes are going so these teachers can sit there and just get paid.
And put on television, basically the enemy of education.
Oh
but
my God.
What I thought overall is you play a movie for a kid in music class, all of a sudden you've produced a kid who knows who Satchmo is, but the kid can't feel the music. Is that what we're doing to our kids? Are we taking away their soul?
Making it easy on the teachers. Paul, this is he's an educator. This is Paul LaRue, very familiar to the show. You guys will, what do you have to, how do you respond to the concerns?
Yeah, my colleague here was talking about what you can do for education, and a long time ago I decided to do something and become part of the solution, become a teacher myself. In every situation, I try to remember two things. One, if this was my child, how would I handle this particular situation, whatever the situation happens to be. And two, I always try to remember that these are somebody else's children. And whether it's hers, whether it's his, any of yours out there, I always try to bear that in mind. Those children, for me, do not exist so that I can have a job and have the summers off. I exist in order to be able to make them a little bit better educated and a little more articulate, and yes, a little bit better able to think for themselves than they did when I first got them. One of the things that happens almost every semester when I've taught is that I explain to the students, okay, you're going to get some general guidelines about what I'm looking for each and every day. I'm going to tell you all the things you can't do. Like, for instance, if I'm doing radio production, which I did this past year, you can't swear during your broadcast. And if you do, you're taking it out. The other thing about it is I give them the freedom to be able to figure things out on their own. That's the whole point. Education is not about teaching you a bunch of stuff. It's about teaching you how to think for yourself, how to be able to make your own judgments, how to be able to understand where it is you feel that you should fit into this world, so that you are not fitted into it, which is what a great deal of education seems to have come down to.
No, Paul, we're going to get back to this. We'll be back after these messages. But as far as the unions and how the curriculum is broken down, where does that curriculum come from? I mean, these are the guidelines. These are what you have to do. We'll address that when we come back. So brush up on your stuff.